Hi, welcome to Chatting Shit. Obviously, Matt's not with us this week because he's lazy and he can't really be bothered to do anything. So I'm going to be hosting. Yeah, I'm going to be hosting tonight. I'm joined tonight by Gavin, Steve, and Nick. We're going for sort of an international feel. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to be talking about the Prismatic Cup, brand new cup from Silph. It's a bit different this time around, not too similar to the last two, and it's run off a whitelist, so that's quite interesting and different again. When I originally saw it, I thought it was just going to be a repeat of Rose Cup, but I'm now starting to see the sort of differences. I don't know what you guys think.
Rose with more colors mixed with continentals.
Mixed with continentals, yeah. You did continentals, didn't you?
My memory's not that good.
Yes, I did bomb continent. I mean, I played in continentals.
How about you, Steve and Gav? Did you do continentals as well?
Yeah, we don't want to talk
lucky.
about it. I've still got emotional scarring.
I was one win off in regionals, and then I got into the continentals qualifier thing, and I went 5-2. And I went just missed the cutoff every time. But it is what it
Always
is.
a bridesmaid.
Exactly. This is my season, man. We're going all the way.
Going all the way.
I thought that, and then I moved countries, and I've just like given up. I've just tanked so much. I feel like the Titanic.
You were still classed as South Africa then, Gav, or are you now classed as
Yeah. I mean, they won't let the South African community are good mates and all that. And then I was chatting to a couple of them. I moved over like 2 months ago, and then they were like, no, you're South African. You can't change. You're one of us. So I'm pleading double agent duties. I just sell my service to the lowest bidder.
The lowest one of us.
I'm cheap.
Okay.
You're not getting much.
On that cheap note, we're going to go over to you, Gav, and talk about your pick, which is Hypno.
Okay, so I had a whole 3 minutes to prepare for this. So yeah,
He's not lying, by the way. That's how long he spent.
No.
We literally
still
watched.
while we're preparing for this.
It'll be in the bloopers cut.
Obviously, I was chatting to a buddy, Marco 888B, and then speaking to him about options and that, because I haven't really had too much time to look into it properly. And we kept chatting about Hypno being quite a good save switch, and purely it's just such a Swiss Army knife that it comes with different punches. You always got the nuke of a Shadow Ball. Give it a bit of energy head start, it's trouble. Everyone, you can adjust to suit your flavor in a sense. I mean, it's in the slot where there's a lot of versatility. There's water, there's all the other aspects of it. So I know that most people take that slot as their last pick to try see where they're missing, where Hypno can just do that as well. You got the options of it. I mean, PvP poke runs with Thunder Punch. I think Ice Punch has a bit more play. It helps with the Driscoll, the Flygon matchups, which I think Flygon's going to be a popular pick. And then, yeah, I mean, Talonflame, either punch, you can just pretty much go back to back and land one and you win it. So yeah, it's an interesting pick. Confusion always just hits like a tank regardless. Everyone knows Hypno. I mean, if you don't know Hypno, welcome to Silph, welcome to GBL, welcome to Pogo, welcome to Heartbreak City.
Welcome
yeah,
to Overtap.
Yeah, yo, I lost the game because of that the other day. The guy still sends me Killer Kev's video after and says, I think you lost because of this, because I had a force overtap. I cried. But yeah, I think
trigger words now.
Yeah, emotional scarring, I told you. But no, overall, I think it's a solid pick. I mean, if you look at we said this morning, when we recorded this on Saturday, that the rankings had a bit of a shake-up. We've noticed. I mean, Whimsicott's now number 1 at the moment. Can take care of that. Obviously, you got Flygon number 2. If you had Ice Punch, takes care of that. Chesnaught on top. Snorlax, obviously, it looks not going to be the greatest, but yeah, I think Hypno's just a very all-round solid pick. It's a tank. It's a great one. And there's a gentleman who made a very interesting little write-up on it, JRE Seawolf. Because he pointed out, which also stood out, is that Dark's not going to be that popular, which is one of the biggest walls to Hypno. With Amok and Shiftry probably being the main ones, but there's also quite good options in their slots. You got the Steels, which are there, the Licks, which are there, but then pretty much it runs over a lot of things if it gets a bit of an advantage. I mean, depends on punches, it can take over from almost anything. But again, punches are all up to your own team building. So yeah, what are you guys thinking on the punches side? Or leaving out and going for Psyshock?
or Focus Blast.
I actually looked at Focus Blast today, and I looked at all the punches and the percentages that you had with each different punch you got. Thunder Punch is 72.9, Ice Punch is 72.5, Fire Punch is 72, dead on. Focus Blast is 42% of the meta. So that's
but it's your nuke.
Real. Whoa!
But what did you look at Focus Blast with? Did you use it with the punch, or did you use a Shadow Ball?
Shadow Ball.
Just solid.
Is it double nukes? That's
The double nuke. You're gonna go big. You might as well go big.
Let's bait with a Shadow Ball. I mean, come on.
Yes, he accidentally shielded my Shadow Ball bait. Success.
Just hold on. I need like another 8 confusions. I'll get you though.
I'll be right back. Just
timed out. Damn it! I'll save it for the next match.
yeah.
I mean, Hypno is a solid pick. I actually only ever built my first Hypno for the last cup. I ran without one.
What?
Yeah, I got
like
into
8 of them.
I got into Silph really late. I know Nick's got like about 8 of them. I got into Silph really late, so I didn't start till season 2, and yeah, I just never had one. So, and I built 2 last month. I built a Shadow and a normal one last month, and used them both, and then managed to use them in the wrong cup, so lost the matches because I used the wrong mob, which is always great fun. But it's such a solid pick. It's such a safe swap, and even though it's yellow, I think is quite a competitive area, to be honest, because you've got your Dugons in there. I'm really keen at the start of this cup to make a Mulga work, because I just love a Mulga. I think it's brilliant. I think it's like a budget Zapdos without all the sass and hatred towards it.
The nice thing about with Hypno is you pair it with Snorlax, it makes quite a solid core.
Mm-hmm.
The
only
other
thing
those
Hypno's
two
weak
together.
to, yeah. There's not a lot of options for like really, like fighters are just really scarce. So that's where I'm they're kind of scattered. So the coverage of having Hypno to guard your Snorlax, that's a great point, because obviously they cover each other, but then it turns into RPS. But the coverage that Hypno has for all those different charge moves, the different punches, just can make it or break it. And then, like, to your point of having the Ice Punch having better versatility, you actually pick up a couple more wins if you use Hypno as that safe swap, like you were saying, because if you get that confusion lead, then you actually start gaining probably about 25 additional wins in like the standard one shields, just because you got that one confusion lead, and that's with Ice Punch Shadow Ball. So I'm actually kind of like, thank God I have 150 TMs to try to get Ice Punch for that now, because
that's why you have to build so many different ones. I mean, literally, I'm just looking now. I think I got 8 here, 2 of them are Shadow, but it's just different combinations.
So 1 minute, you've got 8, I've got 2. Nick, how many have you actually got?
I think I actually have 4, because I had, back when Shadow Ball was Legacy, I have a Shadow Ball Legacy, so Crap IV, Shadow Ball, a Lucky with Psyshock, because that's still Legacy. Then I built a Shadow, and then I built a regular one with that I have for this cup that's got Punch and Shadow Ball. So
How
4.
about you, Steve?
Yeah, I've actually got 4 as well. Back in Sorceress Cup, when I think that was like when Hypno like first kind of hit the Silph scene in a huge way. I was using it I used 2 different Hypnos. I used a Focus Blast Hypno in my regionals, and in all of my YouTube videos, I was using a Hypno with Shadow Ball Ice Punch, I think. So I made sure that the Hypno I was showing everyone did not have Focus Blast, so that then once regionals came around,
they're thinking
sneaky.
I could use
You
my
use your
Focus
celebrity
Blast Hypno.
status.
Yeah, it's like a real paranoia. I'm thinking everyone in the world.
Well, here's the thing,
watching
right?
me.
It just means that if someone wants to go sneak around trying to find out my moveset, they're going to find the wrong thing, and it's just going to go really well.
You're gonna have that
Here's a-
person that's
here's a
like
clickbait
squinting
title.
on screen, like, what's the CP? It doesn't match.
It's your clickbait
different
title.
moves.
Went through my head, I was like,
PvP Steve is a fraud. But
Hey,
like, honestly,
I put out the
I
regionals video eventually, right?
didn't
It
say
all
when.
came out in the end.
But like this is why I built them. It's because at one point I had no charge TMs at some stage, and I had dust, but I didn't really have much to build, because at that stage I could build to what I needed. So I got so sick of it. I was like, screw this shit. I've made another Hypno. I need those moves. Made another Hypno. Need those moves. And I just moved on like that. So now I'm in a point where I got a few of them, but most of them probably don't have the best PvP IVs, but it doesn't make too much difference. I just know that now I can save charge TMs, which is the one thing you can't get enough of nowadays. Especially with the Mew coming up, that we're going to need like 6,000 TMs to make it right month.
Oh, that was one that I needed. I got a Shadow Shiny Hypno that powered up to exactly 1500 CP.
Oh,
Now that was
beautiful.
an instant power up. That was just no question about it. This thing is being built right here, right now, and I'm using the first opportunity I get. So, I mean, maybe this cup's the... Oh no, Shadows are banned. Never mind. This cup is not the time.
Yeah, go ahead and try it. It's fine. Also, register to the tournament I'm in.
Yeah, say about. Oh.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, Gavin, that's a good point. Saving on the TMs, but like you said, even if it's not the best PvP IVs, Hypno's actual just base stats on their own, like even a default, just if you caught the crappy, like what's the default stats? 7, 14, 7, gets to 1498, still has amazing stats. So even if it's not the most PvP ideal, like, or bummer, you have like a 2 in your attack stat. Good, you just won CMP against a bunch of tryhards.
No, exactly. I mean,
you say tryhards. I'm the guy who only builds PvP IV things. So, this is one of the reasons why it's taken me so long, is because I've only got one now that's of a decent rank. And I happen to get, like buses, they all came at once, and I got 2, and I was like, right, you're being built.
Okay,
and
I just shot myself in the foot saying
now
that.
you're telling me that the 2 shiny ones I've got, I could have just built them. Is that what you're saying?
Could have, but did you need to? No.
See,
Gavin's got the
that's also
resources,
the
let
thing.
him run with it.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, that's also the thing. Like I've also, like what Dan was saying, like I'll have stuff until I get like the right IVs, but I won't make it until I need it. There's a lot of stuff I have that are awesome for PvP. I just haven't needed to make it yet. Like we were talking earlier, I still haven't made a chestnut because I haven't needed it yet. I mean, I think I still haven't made a proper Snivy's third evolution, even though we got Community Day coming up. I haven't made
Superior?
the third one yet. Yeah. I'm sorry, I made one.
I was waiting for the Community Day move before I made that. I've got loads of like gen starters that I've not made because who makes them without the Community Day move? Really?
Yeah, unless they
What's the
somehow
point?
happen to have a move that's like if it had like Leaf Blade, like how Sceptile was. Like, if it had like Leaf Blade, maybe that's comparable to having Frenzy Plant because it's like it's so strong. It's an amazing move. Like, so that would be the only excuse. But like Superior had what, Leaf Tornado and Aerial Ace and something else that's probably not that great. So saving mine for Frenzy Plant, like, it seems more ideal. So I get that.
Well, back to Hypno.
Yeah.
Oh, we were talking about Hypno?
What are we talking
Great
about?
safe
What?
switch. Great safe switch. If you're in a tournament that I'm with, I won't run it. I promise you, it's a horrible pick, but otherwise it's good. I'm
Right.
PvP Steve Brute.
Has anyone, before we move on to our next pick, has anyone else got anything to say on Hypno?
The only other thing is that obviously any move you throw, your opponent's going to be sweating, right? Like, oh, is this the Shadow Ball? Are they going to have Ice Punch? Are they going to have Thunder Punch? Are they going to have Focus Blast? They're always
They're
going to
gonna
be
have
second
Fire
guessing.
Punch.
Fire Punch. Sasha.
Has it got Zen Headbutt? You don't know. They could be throwing anything at you here. Anything at all.
Oh, what I said to you earlier, Dan, I was like, I don't know what moves we're going to talk about. You're like, not Zen Headbutt.
That's my advice. Not Zen Headbutt. I did an
Great
auto-rec
contribution.
tournament. I did an auto-rec tournament, and I've got a couple of Relicanths, and I did an
those are nice.
auto-rec tournament, and Relicanth knows Zen Headbutt. And yeah, it does nothing. It really does nothing. And I'm like, what on earth is this move that I'm doing here? What on earth is this? And then someone said, oh, that's Zen Headbutt. And I was like, oh, right. Not the greatest. Not the greatest.
But
I recommend.
Oh yeah, sorry. So when I was talking about, just to wrap it up, though, I know we got so much more to talk about. I'm going to go to bed now. But in terms of if you throw Ice Punch with it, you gain the as I said, the Flygon is a good one. Well, you don't actually gain it in corner PV poke in the ones. You're still fine with it, but Glyph Score is a big one that seems to be coming up in a lot of practice games I've seen. And obviously, if you throw a little Ice Punch on that thing, it's lovely. Because if you don't, it'll probably get to a third. What's a Night Slash?
Yeah.
And then it's tickets. But yeah, I mean, get a little bit of a lead. Even Shift-Free can be. I mean, Hypno can beat Shift-Free. It just needs a few confusion head start. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go to bed. Sorted.
Right, you're not going to bed because we need your opinion on our next pick, and I think
Oh,
you
this
missed
is
out.
rubbish.
You missed out the most important thing, which was that it was
What's that?
Pokédex number 97. Okay, you've all got to say your Pokédex numbers. I hope you all know
Pokédex
them off by
number 97.
Pokédex.
Now you can Photoshop it. I mean, edited.
So for a quick segue onto Steve's pick, which is Pokédex number 195, It's
Glad you
Quagsire.
found that.
It's like, but what if he had that ready? You stole his thunder.
Yeah, come on, man. I was ready to show my stuff, but really, I do not know a single
It's the
Pokedex
first time
number.
hosting a show, Dan.
If it's after 151, I'm clueless.
Right, what's Chikorita?
It's a bit
I'm
shaky, but Quagsire. Quagsire is the man of the segment, the quarter of the. It's not going to be a quarter of the show. We're going to go for hours. But Quagsire, obviously, you do have a couple of different moves that you could go for, but I haven't really looked into anything except your classic Mudshot, Stone Edge, Earthquake. If someone wants to make a case for Sludge Bomb, I'm ready to hear it. But the big thing about Quagsire is that it's kind of just, I mean, for one, it's really good, right? Quagsire is always good wherever it is. It can do a lot of damage. And I was mentioning before, I was looking at YTX Pikachu's kind of analysis of the early meta, so the things that people have been bringing into these practice tournaments the most. And the most common red pick, Talonflame. Quagsire is just going to beat that thing in spades, but that's not too special. Lots of water types are going to do that. The other kind of picks are Flygon in the green or black slot. Flygon's in there. I think Quagsire can take that one out as well. Lantern is the number one pick in the blue slot that people are taking, and Quagsire is just walling that thing entirely. Those Thunderbolts are going to be doing absolutely nothing. If they can land a Hydro Pump, then, it's not the best, but just keep mudshotting away, throw your Earthquakes, and you'll take that Lantern out eventually. Shiftry is the biggest one in the green slot, which obviously, isn't that hot. Hypno is the biggest one in the yellow or white.
In the brown, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's in the brown or
And the
purple.
colorblind.
No, it's definitely brown. Definitely brown.
Oh no, brown or
Yeah,
pink.
brown, pink.
I was trying to think the other color in that
Yeah.
in that slot. But
See,
Hypno is the
that's
big
a
one
good
there.
point. What about the colorblind people? I mean, this isn't a cup that caters for them. I'm a colorblind person. I'm protesting.
It was just to hold this against you. Just trying to build a cup that you would not understand as much as possible. That's
Yeah.
Don't understand most. That's fine. I got to watch someone's meta simplified guide.
You must
You
be
know anyone,
screwed on
Steve?
community days. You must be like, what's that? It's just a normal one. I'll just walk away from it. Oh, that was shiny. It's shiny.
The sparkles. That gets it.
Sorry, Steve. Go on.
No, that's all. Hypno is the big one in the yellow or white, and I don't think Quagsire and Hypno have a bit of a tenuous relationship. Quagsire definitely wins the 0, but the one of the two can kind of go either way depending on where the moves get thrown. As we just talked about, Hypno's got a whole lot of movesets, a lot of things. If we're seeing a Shadow Ball Focus Blast Hypno walking around, then I think Quagsire's going to have an easy time up against that one. So really does depend there. But overall, Quagsire's it's a really good closer. So if you can get it in that end of the battle where you've got nothing left, no shields are in play, Quagsire, you swap it in, get like 2 mud shots, and then they bring in their last Pokemon, you're going to be just set to take that thing away pretty much no matter what it is. Even like its counters, like I think Lucario is one of the counters that it has listed on PvP as like the key counters. And if you've got a bit of energy, no shield, you can just Earthquake that thing and it's gone. And that's kind of the case with a lot of its counters as well. Like Drifloon is another one that's actually, Drifloon was the top of the purple or other color in that slot. And with a little bit of energy, Quagsire takes that out as well with Stone Edge. So I think Quagsire is just really good in that closer slot. It always is, always has been. But yeah, what do you guys think about the old Swagsire?
Quagsire is another one that I didn't build until recently. It makes it sound like I'm a real noob here who doesn't build anything. But
You know what the sad thing is? What's your ranking like, Silph? Are you like Ace Elite?
no, I'm just below Ace. I'm number 36 in the UK at the moment. So
Okay,
I'm not,
put that on your CV.
it is
His
actually.
spice
It's
index
right
is up there.
My spice index, I've got a spice index of 45. I
Okay.
doubt anyone's got that, I ran a Pachirisu in a cup once, and I've ran Chespins.
I ran Patrick's. No, I didn't.
All right, we
what's
get
the
it. You
other
guys have
side scroll?
Pachirisu, whatever. I don't even
Calm down,
care.
Rita Can.
Wait, you don't?
Hey, he's from
I feel
Australia
like-
and he doesn't even have a Relicanth. What's this about?
It's so close, but so far.
I'm going to bed.
And good night.
So Quagsire was definitely my MVP from regionals back in Voyager. It could just fit so many good roles for myself. I ran mine with Sludge Bomb, but I think the standard moveset is too good to pass up on. It's 1 Mudshot difference, I think, or maybe it's 2 between Stone Edge and Earthquake. Maybe the first one it's a little bit more, but don't quote me on that. Also, edit that out. But yeah, I very much like the idea that it's there to basically it's a blue that beats so many of the other blues. I'm actually looking at it now and kind of confused how Tangrowth is in there for blue.
Yeah.
But
Because it's blue.
Yeah, it's probably the color
it?
mainly.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'd imagine it's down to the blue. It's the same as like Lucario because it's blue.
fair enough. Yeah, that's okay. Well, I think Quagsire is very safe in this. I know Shiftry is going to probably be picked a decent amount, but that's a very congested pick slot too. But Quagsire, given the right protection, if you just like you said, it's a great closer. It actually, the default stats, it's got like almost a 96 rating as a closer, and with that energy lead, it beats just about anything. Like you said, Lucario is one of its biggest counters. If you just get that one mud shot energy lead, you beat it. You'll win the race for Lucario to try to get to a Shadow Ball that'll KO because of the residual counter damage. But like, that's insane. So like the biggest threat it might have would be the Whimsicott, but it's all suggesting that Whimsicott runs Charm, so it's not just going to get deleted if it was Razor Leaf. So there's a big threat that you could potentially dodge. So, and then Quag still has so many resources to use against things that are potentially bad for it. Like one of my favorite things to try out so far has been Ferrothorn out of the purple gray slot. Earthquake still hurts. Like you have to respect an Earthquake because of the steel typing. So like, yeah, Ferrothorn is pretty much just going to walk away with that. But if you switch into
Not
it,
a chance that.
yeah, there's no chance. But if you switch the Ferrothorn in, there's a good chance you're going to still get hit with an Earthquake, and that's going to take a huge chunk out of you. And if that's like the ending mon that you have, like, sorry. So I think Quag is a very strong pick here that is so easily overlooked because it has honestly one of the dumbest looking faces I've ever seen in cartoon print. But I love this thing.
Power it up, to be honest, is because it has a dumb looking face.
Like
I didn't realize how good it was, and it was a guy called Phil Jimbob who like sat me down and was basically oh no, Dan, it's amazing. It's like the best mon ever. It's brilliant. You can use it as a false lead because it's quite slow getting to its charge moves because they're quite heavy hitting. But if you use it in a false lead, get a couple of mud shots off, switch it out, put something else in, and you've got that there in the back, and it's halfway already to its mud shot, or it's halfway to its Earthquake, or it's halfway to its Stone Edge. You can really close with it. And he gave me this whole like little strategy speech on how to use it and stuff, which was quite helpful actually. And then I went and built one afterwards.
Mm-hmm. It's really strong.
Phil's in my EPL team, but yeah, Quagsire gave me a bit of a spanking earlier today in a Vortex Cup match, so I hate Quagsire right now. No, solid pick. Really solid pick. The mud shot just charges things so badly quickly, and if you get an energy lead, or as you said, something like a false start or closing, or actually anything. I mean, Earthquake is just a monster of a move. Stone Edge is a monster. They cover each other so well. If it's flying, if it's ground, or if it's flying, or if it's not flying, between the two of them, you're hitting them for big damage.
How do you think it compares though with the other? Because blue's quite water's a great type. We all know water's a great type. How do you think it compares with the others water types and the others in blue? Because blue, you've said it there, you've got Lucario, which again in this cut where there's very few fighters knocking about, Lucario seems to be a solid pick, especially with the power punches picking up the counters and things like that. You've also got Rainy Castform, which is a nightmare. Rainy Castform's brilliant just by the fact it's got that thunder there that you can use, and water gun, you can nearly have 2.5 water guns for a thunder, so you really kind of like with that. And again, Lantern, which is a very good pick. Would you say comparatively you would still always choose Quagsire over them, or you?
I mean, I think I like Quagsire more than I like Lantern, because Lantern's obviously got that, it can take out the things in the skies. So can Quag, he's got that Stone Edge, he can do that sort of similar job there. The one blue Pokemon that, obviously if you're kind of building a team, you really need a fighter, but you've really used up all your other color slots, you might need to put Lucario on your slot. But I think Kingdra is one blue Pokemon that is maybe a bit hard to walk past, because Dragon Breath is just such an oppressive move that anytime you can use Dragon Breath, it's usually a nice thing to have. And Kingdra and Quagsire are doing very different things. Like, they're very different Pokemon. Kingdra is all about just that Dragon Breath, occasionally getting a charge move off, whereas Quagsire is all about just getting the energy, getting the moves off, destroying Pokemon. So they're very different, which is kind of the confusing thing about this whole Prismatic Cup business. The fact that all of these mons are different. You have to go, okay, I want this one from this slot, but that means I can't have this one, so I have to use this one from here. And then it's all sorts of jigsaw puzzling putting together. So I think it's... No, sorry. I was just going to say that I think it's hard to say that this is the best blue Pokemon and is always the one to use, because it's all very, very dependent on your team building, I suppose.
But I was going to actually ask now, it's like, would you say this is the hardest cup to actually team build? Because, I mean, this is going to have so many unique teams.
I genuinely hope that this is going to have so many unique teams. I mean, we all spoke about it at the beginning of last month. We were like, oh, this is great. Everyone's going to have different teams. It's going to be so wide open. Yet every team had the same 3 Pokemon on it. Do you know what I mean? Every team had a Primeape and a Hypno, and it's like an Adamandi. It's okay, so we're all running the same thing.
It felt like I saw the same 4 to 6 Pokemon on every team,
Yeah.
or 5 to 6. Like it was just, all right, let's see who. Like, am I going to lead a mirror match or am I going to lead like a hard counter? Like like my current matchup is literally the same exact 5 Pokemon and then a different fighter.
And the funny thing is, like everyone.
Been,
every month, everyone goes, oh, it's RPS. It depends on team build. To be dead honest with you, if you're going to build it like that, then it's going to be like that. If you're going to build a team that, look, if I lose the lead, I mean, if you build a team that I can lose the lead, but this will happen and I can still come back at it, play with the energy, play with the health. I mean, you got so many top players that show you when they stream on a daily basis or nightly basis of how they lose leads, but they still come back with the energy management and the playing ability. So between so with this cup and this meta, I think it's going to be completely unique teams left, right, and center. I think maybe you'll see probably 2 predominantly as well, but I think the rest of it will be a lot of unique picks in that, because each slot has such good Pokemon that can partner with such good Pokemon in other slots. Like I mentioned there, you got your Hypno with a core with Snorlax, but then in the same slot you got Whimsicott and Flygon in the same Snorlax slot. Which completely depends on your team building. In your red slot, Talonflame seems to be the big pick, but then you got so much other stuff in that slot that also do so well. So I'm hoping it's going to be a pretty wide meta, and pretty wide options. And then I need to still look into it and find that one bloody Pokemon that beats 4 or 5 of your team.
Have we got anything else we'd like to say on Quag before we move on?
Has acid spray.
Yes.
Has acid spray.
Is
So
it Sludge Wave?
use the exploit.
No, it's got
Has
Sludge
it?
Bomb and it's got acid
No,
spray.
Sludge Bomb, that's it.
Ah, right.
Apologies. I remember Sludge Bomb was one cup. Some people ran Sludge Bomb as a, I can't remember which cup it was. It was one of those sneaky surprises that it was good in the beginning of the month and everyone caught on to it. But yeah, it hit those, like it just smashed grass left, front, center because it got this, that Mudshot's just ridiculous. It just generates so quick.
yeah, I
wanna
ran
say it
Sludge
was
Bomb
Rainbow
Earthquake
Cup.
in Voyager because of catching Azus and grasses and then Earthquakes for Reggies. It just was I don't know why I did it. It was like I ran a regular Voyager Cup the night before regionals, and Sludge Bomb caught everybody by surprise. And I'm like, all right, let's give this a go. Let's make this
It's
real.
the guy who won his regionals, by the way, just to point out. That's why he's telling us this story. But it was like
Shameless
won my
plug.
regionals.
he
as
had
well.
some dodgy pizza, played a few matches, like Sludge Bomb. Yes, do it.
Which also came from a conversation in the middle of the night with Philly Jim Bob.
Cookie say
Does
so.
everyone have like
everywhere.
late night chats to this guy?
Billy Jim Bob's a legend, honestly. He's
I was actually going to chirp something because, like, in the UK, there's no haircuts and everyone's growing their hair all big and bushy and that. So I was going to be like, at least my hair's better than Jim's. But
and then you see mine, and then you see
I
it.
see his inspiration. Yeah.
It's there. It's just hiding.
But we forgot one more move on Quag, his good old return.
Yeah,
Mm.
there is.
Actually, is it under level 25? Can you have return in Great League?
I don't know. I just thought it's one of the options. I actually don't know. Oh, I don't even think I have any of these checks.
You could be cute with trading, couldn't
Quick
you?
little.
But then it's also-
check what PvP says. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can
level
you can have
20
one.
It's possible. It's possible.
It's probable.
But and also everyone has just skipped past Water Gun.
Actually, no,
As a
it's not
fast move
possible
on it.
because a
I thought you were going to bed.
15. No, never
I
mind.
know.
No one's running water gun on Quag. No one's running water gun on Craft.
No, I know that. But
Maybe Jamie.
Maybe
Jamie.
Jamie.
Okay, you just wait till Phil Jim Bob says that you should be running water gun on a Quag.
And we're all going, yes!
Saved my TMs.
Yeah, but he'll pull out some statistics and we'll all go, wow, that's brilliant, yeah. And he'll do it in the maths and his beautiful mind will work. We're going to move on, though. We are going to move on. we're going to talk about my pick. So I've gone for something from the red slot, and I've gone for Pokédex number 257, which is Blaziken. My pure reason for choosing Blaziken is because I hate Incinerate. I actually find the red slot really limited. I think there is 3 choices in it, really. I think you're either running Crustle, I think you're running Talonflame, or I think you're running Blaziken. I think that very much depends on your... Oh, Steve's got his hand up already.
Trash Wormadam.
Trash Wormadam. Trash Wormadam. You could run Trash Wormadam. You could. I think you'd be wrong, but, you know, you could run
I'll
it.
just go over here then.
Blaziken, whenever it's available, it's really good. We're all PvPers. People who watch this are all PvPers, so we've all got Stone Edge one by now because Elite TM has been around. Well, obviously, you've got about 7 Elite TMs sat in your bag. Yeah. So if you wanted one, you'd just go and make one. Same as everyone else, you know what I mean?
I'm a hoarder.
Same. I have 10 of each elites, and I have nothing to do with them.
Yeah, and you
need
sweat
these
in there.
things
You're like, I don't know if that's enough. I got to save them.
I'll buy
Yeah,
that
I'm just
mega
like-
box with one.
Instantly done with that shiny Mew. Like, got the moves I wanted. How many TMs you guys burn? I used 3.
I hate it.
I'm kind of curious on the differences between having Stone Edge and Blast Burn, or Stone Edge for Brave Bird, but keeping Blaze Kick as the bait. But like, it is a very intriguing Pokemon. Now that you mentioned the red picks,
I don't think you can run Brave Bird with it because I think it is so weak that as soon as you hit that Brave Bird, literally one hit, you're gone. As with like Talonflame, if you hit the Brave Bird, you can still take something. You know, as Blaziken's just flimsy at the best of times, but it does pick up some decent matches in this meta. I did a little thing here. It beats Lantern, which I was like, beats a water type. That's really good. Do you know what I mean? Beats everything you expect it to beat. The grasses, the rocks, beats your Ferrothorns. I did find with the Ferrothorn, if you get a 1 counter lead, it actually beats it if Ferrothorn 2 shields as well, which is always nice to have. Similarly with Quagsire, you're losing the 0s and 1s, but you can flip the 1s with a 1 counter lead. Similarly with Drifblim, if you've got a 1 counter lead, you can flip the 1 shields. And similarly with Hitmonchan, you can flip the 1 shields. It's Blaziken. It does what it does. You know, it's...
Are you hinting at it to be a safe switch for you, if you want the lead on the energy?
I think it's... Yeah, to be honest.
Hypno approves this message.
Yeah, as soon as that Hypno safe swap comes in, Blaziken's gone in 4 seconds flat, and end of story. That extra counter did nada.
I just think this is a weird... because, as we said earlier, with it being a whitelist cup and you being limited from what you can pick from each pool and stuff like that, and if you're someone who's weird like me, who has a hatred of a certain Pokemon or a hatred of a certain move, then you're limiting yourself even more. And I think Blaziken is quite a nice little pick here. It counter hurts. There isn't an abundance of fighters. Personally, I'm not going to go for Lucario because there's so many good stuff in the water, and it's what else is in each of these different categories. You know, if you look at your other fighters in the brown slot, you've got Noctowls there. You know, you've got Shiftry there, which you're going to want that Shiftry if you've got them Hypnos running about. You know, it's about finding that balance and finding the acceptable thing. That is saying you need counter at all, which I know a couple of people have said to me recently, you do not need a fighter for this cup, which I do think is plausible as well, that you don't need a fighter. But given the fact that I do personally think the red slot is open, I think this may be a nice little way to sneak it in, and no one wants a Stone Edge in the face, pretty much.
You know what's pretty crazy is that Blaziken's the highest ranked red slot pick on PvPoke at 41.
Yes, at 41. That's how poor the red slot is, really.
I think there's an argument to be made that Charizard could be technically higher, but the rankings do suggest that you run Dragon Breath and Blast Burn, you actually get more wins with either, if you have Wing Attack or Fire Spin, you get more wins.
I think you get more with Fire Spin. I looked at Wing Attack this morning because I've got
the
I've
most.
got each of the Charizards.
It goes Fire Spin, then Wing Attack, then Dragon Breath, but it's suggesting Dragon Breath probably has like better coverage stuff. Steve, are you laughing your ass off at this?
I just saw Gavin going in disbelief that Dan had multiple Charizards built up, but only had like the 2.
I don't have one. I don't have a Wing Attack Charizard built up. But
I don't either.
I've got
Neither.
2 Wing Attack Charizards. Got 2.
So this is where the dust is going, huh?
Yeah, I've got 1 shiny and 1 not. You know, it's like, wait.
Wow.
That's this guy. Didn't have a Hypno 2 days ago, but he's got like Stone Age Blazikens. Wing Attack Charizard. It's like, oh no, it's
Okay.
fine. You can have the easy stuff. I'll have the rare stuff.
Hypno's got a pointy looking nose and is weird looking. Quagsire's like all kind of like, you know, weird looking.
He's got the
You know.
little hypnotizing monocle that just says, "Don't build more Hypnos."
You
It's like a
know?
creepy uncle.
Yeah.
But Blaziken looks a cool ass fighter, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Charizard's freaking Charizard, you know, and
Yeah. Charizard's probably like everyone's top 5 all time. It's just like it was the Pokemon growing up, and like people probably have more tattoos of Charizard than anything else. Can't really blame it. Mine's still on its way. Yeah, everyone's got a soft spot for Charizard. I just wish it could be better in the game.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's very
really a
fragile,
problem
but
with the fire types, right? Like Blaziken's the same. They're all just you breathe a little too hard and they're all going down. It's just
they're very attack weighted. Yeah, but that's
But
where I
then you
think Blaziken can shine, though. Like counter in this, there's not much that really resists counter, so it's very neutral and it's stab, and it's like one of if not the best fast attack in the game. So putting it on a high attack statted Pokemon just means you're punching for neutral stab for a decent amount, and then its charge attacks they hurt. I mean, sure, it's ranked 41, but like I like it. I don't know if I would commit to the
Yeah.
Stone Edge of it, but I think it might actually be necessary here because like, what's the point of having double fire?
there's no point in having double
But
fire.
like,
I don't
it's only
think
got
there
really
is.
nukes on it. Besides Blaze Kick as your bait move, it's nukes. It's Blast Burn, Brave Bird, Stone Edge, Focus Blast, and
Blast.
Overheat.
Hmm.
Focus blast. those big ones are like Blaziken's never gonna get there, right? Like,
I've
you need to
thrown
get him-
one and then immediately
Get it
fainted.
caught on like a Snorlax or something maybe. But then that lick
Yeah.
will just rip you apart, that's all.
Yeah,
I mean,
if
I
you really
think-
want to play like super RPS and get yourself into like where Blaziken like wants to be, then you can get a focus blast onto the next Pokemon. But like,
It's when you're 2-0 up already, you just try things.
Evidently, you've never
Who
played
needs wins?
Phil Jim Bob. He doesn't try things.
Is there going to be a
brutal.
counter of how many times we've mentioned Phil's name?
Yeah, I think we need to. He's gonna be like sponsored by this video.
Yeah.
Sending everyone a 6-pack.
Has anyone got any other thoughts on Blaziken? Because, to be honest, it is what it is, and my main motivation for picking it was just simply because I feel the red slot is really weak. As we said, it's 41 is the highest one on the red slot, and I think you've got to put something in there. So why not Blaziken? In my
Look, it's
opinion?
You've
Blaziken's
almost made me want to
definitely-
flip my red pick with this.
It's a
Blaziken's-
compelling argument.
But
Blaziken's definitely in my top 10 fire starters though.
no, I wouldn't go that far.
Fine, top 15. Is it like only 8?
I think there's 9.
Oh, dude, my son is up to
No
date.
idea.
I'm so far
I know the
behind.
first 3.
Don't even ask me. Because you had to study for your video.
Yeah, as soon as it's in a Silph meta, then I'll know it.
Yeah,
Until that
exactly.
point.
No, like it's crazy. My son's like obsessed with this, right? And he's so bleak in the UK, can't really get the latest stuff. Like it's out in the States. And so we found a way and all that. But like literally, I'll be like, "What the hell is this?" And he'll start telling me like the whole history about it. Like it's our mom's name's this, his aunt's name's this, it does this, it does this. Ash saw him here. They did this against him. Like it's like he'll just go on the whole thing. I'm just like, he's like a walking encyclopedia. It's brilliant. And we have arguments, eh? He still thinks Charizard isn't that great, and I'm like, grounded.
You're grounded.
Grounded. I had to stop taking my son to Silph tournaments, to be honest.
Oh, we used to love it, but he enjoyed it more because it was at a game shop where we used to have it in Cape Town. where you could look at all the toys and like the game, like the cards and everything. And it's like Caleb, you battling. He's like, oh yeah, okay, fine. No, Dad, I lost. Okay, bye.
Oh no, he'd just lose against everyone else but play me and beat me, and then go around going like, I beat me dad again. Beat me dad again. He's never beaten me. He's never beaten me. Never beaten me. My account's better than his. Look at his.
I'm retiring.
So
I don't have kids, so I don't have to deal with that shit.
yeah, but you
I
have
am one,
multiple
so-
You can
animals.
save money.
What's that?
You have multiple animals behind you. Multiple animals.
And I guess I have a man-child friend that is local to me, so
Yeah.
I have to deal with Toshi on local tournaments. So there's
You
that.
actually like drunk sit him.
He gets better. We practiced for a cup after having like shot after shot of whiskey, and man, did I I wasn't doing the shots because I had to drive home. He was, and I feel like
Oh,
at some
you-
point he was just like tapping like this, and then came back, caught a charge attack, and then still won the game. And I should have retired right then and there, but
You should no. That's what he has to walk home.
no, I drove to his house.
Ah.
So I get it. I should have walked home in like disgrace.
Yeah.
You could have offered him a lift home from his own house.
Just throw him in someone else's car. Just
Get him in
take
the boot. Get him in the boot. Okay,
Brilliant.
so on this one, we're gonna go over to Nick's pick, and I know Nick knows the Pokédex number for his one because he's like, a good mate
do.
of mine. And
I actually put a notepad document up before we went live to have all my notations of everything here. So we've got Pokédex number 107. Is
hey!
Hitmonchan. I know we just talked that we don't necessarily need fighters for this, but I was kind of keen on him. Hitmontop is a little higher. So Hitmonchan is ranked number 65 in the entire cup, but it's slot like ranked 9 for the brown pink spots. I would honestly put it at slot 8 because I don't think anyone's going to run a Doug trio, let alone have one that still has Mudshot,
Spoilers.
because you can't even elite TM it to have Mudshot anymore. This is like an ancient relic that you can't really find. So plus it's Doug trio.
I'm
It's-
actually going to check in case I've got a Doug trio now with Mudshot.
You go
You
ahead.
better
If
not.
you do,
You
then you
better
can
not.
go ahead and run
I
it.
might
But
do,
they're ranked almost
Hey, you
identical.
can't even TM it.
No,
Nah.
it's got the little T next to it. Like it's just like it's removed from its move pool, but they didn't take it out if you made one ahead of time. It's kind of like I think Kanto Golem with Mudshot. It's not there anymore either.
Mm.
It's now just
Okay.
Mud Slap and Rock Throw. So,
Further
but
Montana.
I like the versatility. Like it's Hitmonchan reminds me of something that has a bit more consistent of fast attack damage pressure than like a Hypno. Obviously with a lot less bulk and is very weak to Hypno. But I think it can be very useful for a lot of things, given that it has all the elemental punches. I would probably not run Power Up Punch because I don't really like it. The elemental punches just give it so much more coverage, like beating Shift Tree, Fly. It helps you with waters, grass, dragons, ground, you name it. It's basically always going to be hitting for at least neutral or super effective damage. Granted, none of the elemental punches are stab. In the even one shields, it has 182 wins and 100 losses, but if you give it a 1 counter lead as a safe swap in, it jumps to 207 wins. So it's not so bad. One of the biggest things that it can flip, like you said, like there's not going to be a lot of dark, but I still like Alolan Muck. The only thing it really fears is ground. So if you can cover ground, then that's your own thing. But if you have like Hypno and Hitmonchan on your team, Hitmonchan with a 1 counter lead can flip the matchup against Alolan Muck and clear the way for your Hypno. Or just for the fact that Muck has a lot of very spammy, hard-hitting charge attacks because of how fast Snarl goes. So I think that was one of my biggest takeaways of noticing that if you get that 1 counter lead, you flip what I would think is an important matchup is the Alolan Muck. If people start going that way. But that was my initial thinking that people would go Amok, but that slot is very, very occupied as well.
So when you originally said to me you were going to pick Hitmonchan, I was like, look on PvP Poker. That's quite low down the rankings. I think Hitmonchan's brilliant here. I think it is absolutely fantastic here. I think it is the glue that fits in between teams. I think its versatility in movesets. I ran it tonight. I know I lost every game tonight, but to be honest, I was writing notes for this show.
But that's what we do practice for.
I was
Notice
writing
how big
notes.
that folder is of notes.
It's only this big. It's only this big. It's not like this, but
That's
to be
page
fair-
1 of 5, guys.
this is the notes from my rough notes, which I wrote down during the tournament.
Here it comes.
Everyone,
And then here's actually the folder that I wrote into this notes with. And then...
This is my mid-tournament
This is the
notebook.
keynotes for this page.
That's not a wall behind him. That's a whiteboard, and there's a lot of stuff around him.
I like
If you
notes,
zoom out
okay?
to see all the notes.
Yeah,
I like
it's
notes.
blurred like yours, Gavin. Like there's actually a lot of stuff back there.
Yeah, I can't show you my secret ingredients.
I like notes, and I think Hitmonchan here. I ran it with Thunder and Ice
Screw
Punch,
trees.
Yeah, me too.
and I think it's really good. To be honest,
Like
you'd
the
be
only thing.
surprised with Hypno. It does all right actually. It stays in longer than you'd expect it to. It stays in longer than the Blaziken does anyway. So, and if you've got them a little bit of a head start, you've got that Ice Punch which can do a bit of damage too. And I really like choosing Hitmonchan. I know it only beats 64% of the meta, but yeah,
You give it that lead, it can be very, very useful. So like, I will almost try to build a team that would make it like you're not really going to worry too much about a Hypno lead. So you could potentially go with a Hitmonchan lead to get that to draw it out, and then have it clear up at the end. But like when I looked at this and like just the overview of the Silph page that had all of the like Pokemon sprites that had it all in there, and I looked at it and thought there are not a lot of flyers. At least a lot of the standard flying types that you would have expected. Like you're talking Talonflame. All right, well that's just got Incinerate. Yes, you do lose to it, but like Incinerate damage. There's no like Skarmory. What's the other flyers? There's Gliscor.
Philippa.
well, you've got Gliscor, you've got
Pelipper.
Pelipper, you've got
Mantine.
Noctowl.
Yeah,
If that
and then
counts.
and
Anything
Driftblim.
doesn't count.
Driftblim's in here too. I just feel like all of the flyers, like these that we're listing, outside of maybe Driftblim and Talonflame, they're all in very congested slots. That, like, do you really need a flyer? Like, what do you need the flyer for? Countering grass and countering fires? But how many fighters are you really going to see? That's where I feel like it could be a nice little thing to sneak in. And having those elemental punches, you get those leads. I think outside of, like, Noctowl, because it's so bulky, like, the super effective punches and the neutral counters are still great, but you're not going to win. It's got so much bulk. Hitmonchan's got huge defense, but just low HP. I think that's the one that it was like more defensive based than it was HP based. So that I think it's great. And then my other plug for it was that I think a lot of people might actually have decent ones laying around from the Kanto tour when it was actually in the wild. So you could actually get some kind of a decent PvP IV instead of like trading Tyrogues and hope to get like the lower attack plus the higher Hitmonchan stat and then happen to evolve it correctly. So I don't know. I like the looks of it. It beats some things that you might not expect it to. Like I like how it's a nice Flygon counter. It breaks that, kills Snorlax, beats Ferrothorn. I don't really know why. It's a key win. Probopass. Is Probopass on anybody else's radar to really worry about? But like,
Probopass is quite highly thought of in this cup as being like an RPS maker. Really, it's kind of like put it in there to break everything up, and it beats what it beats. It loses hard to what it loses to, but. If someone switches in their Dragonite, for instance, and they bring the Probopass, it's game over, really. So
I think I was turned off of Probopass just because of seeing Flygon at number 2. And I personally prefer Flygon with Earth Power or Earthquake over Stone Edge. But, I mean, it's hard to, because if I'm also running Quagsire, do I really want 2 things with Stone Edge? So that was my leaning on that to get the Probopass. But if that's the case and people start I know the meta changes all the time. These rankings changed before we even started recording this. And I'm like, oh crap, all my information's now out the window. But
that's why you should be like Gavin, do all your prep work 3 minutes before we start recording.
Yep, nothing can surprise me now.
I mean, it worked for me all through high school. I graduated high school. Might as well just start doing it with my Pokemon research now.
No. High school, I was on 2 minutes. I pushed it out to 3 minutes now.
2 minutes.
Yeah,
so much
as you
to
get
learn.
older, you need an extra minute.
Steve,
yeah.
what do you think of Hitmonchan?
I think I need to practice a bit with it because obviously I'm a little bit scared about how squishy it might be. I'm interested by how he's not as squishy as Blaziken. So I think I kind of need to see it in action to kind of get that understanding a bit better. And I did use Hitmonchan in, like, you know, my first ever Boulder Cup, like, you know, first Silph tournament ever. Like, okay, I have some Pokemon that are eligible. Let's go here. Hitmonchan, I don't think it did very well for me back then, but I think the Thunder Punch, Ice Punch moveset definitely has a lot of play. Like, you know, we were talking about Hypno. Those two moves are like huge for Hypno in this cup. Like, there's so much that's going to be.
Oh, Quagsire even, you know.
that was before we started recording. I was allowed to see that.
In the bloopers. In the bloopers.
In the bloopers.
Gotta go on Matt's Patreon to see that. Please don't forget that. Nice plug.
Get it as like a little ticker along the bottom. Like,
yeah.
This is when Steve realized that Quagsire does not know these moves.
Okay, I may have got Quagsire a little bit confused before, but
with Hypno, because they look the same. They're both ugly, so.
Oh, that's brilliant.
They're beautiful in their own way, Dan.
Oh, their mommy says so.
But Hitmonchan, I definitely think it can do a lot of work if you can get those moves off. And I mean, with that one counter advantage, it can definitely, it's definitely going to be doing a lot, I think. So I think it's not going to work for everyone, but I think it can work really well in some situations. And, you know, I'm waiting to see the recap tournament recordings of Hitmonchan sweeping the whole thing with Ice Punch, Thunder Punch coming through.
I'll force myself to put it up on my dusty YouTube account.
I'll be there.
I made a new fan.
That's like an OnlyFans.
That'll also be on the ticker on the bottom.
I love the plugging going on here. That's not shameless at all.
Well, bringing us back round to Hitmonchan, have we got any other last thoughts? Anything we want to say? You know, it's a good-looking mon. It looks like it's going to be really good.
It's a poor version of Hypno.
It's a poor
I mean, the argument you could.
It beats Shiftry.
So here's another fun argument, though. If you want to pair it with Hypno, is like you don't necessarily have to go double punches. So think about it. If you do like Thunder Punch, Shadow Ball on Hypno, then maybe you could do like Ice Punch, Close Combat on the Hitmonchan, because it does have that option of the nuke. I wouldn't Elite Tam Brick Break. Wouldn't go that route. If you really want to just like get that bait move of Power Up Punch, you could potentially do that. But like that's where a lot of versatility can come from that. Like if you don't have a punch on this guy, or if you just like I feel a little too weak to dragons and grass, just put Ice Punch on both of them.
It's like another Swiss Army knife. That's the whole thing behind it. The punches just give it so much variety. And the annoying thing is, I think Steve mentioned earlier, is when you sit there and you see the first charge go for you, like half shitting yourself, like I wonder what this could be. Because then it changes everything else in your mind, especially when it's something that you weren't expecting.
That's what drew me to Hitmonchan is like, all right, I think a fighter isn't necessary, but it can be useful. There might be some steel types, some dark types that don't want to get punched, and then if they switch out, you've got these punches that can do a decent amount of work against almost everything that they can potentially switch in. I mean, I think
I can't think of anything that's resisting both. Is there anything?
What
resisted both?
Ice?
Was it anything resistant thunder and ice?
Yeah. I'm just trying to think now.
Rock?
I don't think there's a pure steel type.
Because I mean, even the rock ones, you know, you hit a cross with a thunder punch and it hurts it.
Yeah, but it's not like super effective almost in a sense. But yeah, steel rock would probably be the first you think of.
But you know, then they're getting hit with counters, so like.
yeah. At that point, you might as well just like
punched.
just counter them down and get the charges off onto the next one.
Yeah.
But remember, that thing's so squishy, I don't have much health left. Just like bam, bam, done.
Well,
happens.
Unless we've got anything else to say on Hitmonchan, I think we should call it there. You know,
I do have a question though.
Go on.
How's Whimsicott number 1 at the moment?
I really don't know. I don't know if it was one of these things like a mistake's been made like overnight or something like that, you know, or
is it like an early April Fool's for Felix or something, or than that? Because we know like he loves charms.
I think it beats fighters. It beats Flygon, who's at number 2. It probably just beats a bunch of other random stuff because it happens to have charm. And then it's got a grass charge move, so it probably like beats out some water types in the one shield scenarios that it auto sims. So
when the hell are you ever going to get to Hurricane on that thing?
Right? Yeah, like both of its charge attacks
I don't know.
its
I
fast
mean,
attacks get energy so slow.
if you go in against the right mon, so say for instance you lead it, and then you charm down for a bit, and somebody brings in their, say, Dragonite, and then you just continue charming down till it's dead, and then maybe you've got enough, after you've charmed down 2 months to hell, you might have enough.
You're really hopeful that they just, I've got 5 things weak to charm, and they have a Whimsicott. I hope they don't bring it.
Talk about an RPA situation, eh?
That's a top left
it
situation.
works perfectly for you. and that you managed to avoid that one.
And the moons are aligned at a certain angle. The stars.
Pigeons flying over just
And
in
like,
that
what's
direction.
Its worst counter looks like it's Talonflame. So like, all right.
No one's bringing that. No one's bringing that.
Or no, that's not its worst counter. That's like it's just worse. It's
The
Alolan
key was-
Sandslash is and Golbat are like its biggest counters.
To be fair, the green slot is very congested with quite good picks. As we said earlier, you've got Flygon, you've got Alolan Muck in there, which we're not going to see that many Alolan Muck because people are going to naturally go to the Snorlaxes and the Flygons, if not going for an actual grass type itself. I know some people have been running Meganium because it's a brilliant Pokemon. So I don't think Whimsicott's going to get that much play because of what you'll lose to bring it, if you know what I mean. So I could be wrong. So.
I can tell you one thing. This one's going to be a fuck up of a meta.
Finally,
every tournament, I'm have like a new team. It just doesn't work for me.
I think we needed that though. I felt like the last 2 months just seemed like, cool, it's these 4 again. At least the same 4 again.
Literally, it's been like that. There's only been Marsh where we had a bit of a break from that because Sunrise was just dire. I mean, it was literally, oh great, I'm in another Man-Team mirror. Yay, this is going to be fun.
And Vigoroth, right?
Vigoroth, yeah, we were all playing the basic same teams. And yeah, so maybe having this kind of,
it has I think it has a stronger potential of having a larger variety of team picks because you can get like this. You'll have similar roles on teams, but they won't be all the same Pokemon. Like if you need a grass, you might find it in a different slot than I have my grass.
I think also like the earlier tournaments are going to be a much wider selection of teams, and then as the month goes on, people are going to start getting a bit more uniformed. In what they're picking in a certain spots now, because those are the ones that are doing well. So yeah, those of us who are getting into the early 7 rounders, 2-3 days are gonna be in for some crazy team comps.
But before we ramble
By the
on,
way, does
like
anyone
a
have
bunch
any
of
of those
old men, I'm gonna call it here. Thanks for really coming on, guys. It's been really great having you. Everybody should make sure we check out the next episode of Chatting Shit because I believe it's going to be hosted by Phil Jim Bob, just to bring his name into it again. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
Check.
The man, the myth, the legend.
The man, the myth. Well, there's a rule that only bald people are allowed to host in Matt's absence because he doesn't want to feel, like hairless.
Wait. Sorry,
like
you're right. It's just the man, the myth. He didn't make legend.
He will make legend this season. He will. He's fast on his way to elite.
Yeah.
But
as soon as he uses water gun Quagsire.
I was confused if you were talking Legend GBL or Legend Silph status.
But thanks for joining us, guys.
Both.
And we'll call it there for tonight.
Yeah,
Cheers. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.